Hey everybody, welcome to the Gaming X. We're a brand new channel dedicated to Xbox, PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. And today we're not only going to be taking a look at Planet of the Apes Last Frontier for PlayStation 4, but we're also giving away a free copy to one lucky winner. Now the draw is going to take place in 7 days, so go to the video description below and get your entry in. So Planet of the Apes Last Frontier is now available on the PlayStation 4. And it's been advertised as a narrative adventure where you play your part in determining the outcome of the war between apes and humans. It's published and developed by Andy Serkis' company, the Imaginarium. So if you like what you see today, then please subscribe. Your support's going to help grow this channel. So story. Planet of the Apes Last Frontier is set between Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and Rise of the Planet of the Apes. The story takes focus on a faction of apes led by Khan and his 3 sons. Now these previously followed renegade Cobra from the movies, but since separating they've set up camp in the Rocky Mountains where they're able to avoid any sort of human interaction. Food, however, is running low and they're forced to travel into human territory for survival, leading to an eventual confrontation with a band of survivors led by Jess. Now, while I don't want to say any more on story, a word of warning and a mistake I made: do not look at the achievements list for this game prior to your first playthrough. They give away outcomes as well as decision options, and this really impacted my decision-making process for the story, where I found myself making decisions not because it was my opinion, but it led to a certain achievement path. Now in the future releases, I hope they hide these to avoid impacting the player's decision-making process. I would also recommend going to settings and turning subtitles off. I found this really helped with immersion to the movie sense of the narrative design, and would strongly recommend this when possible. Now this is a side story to the movie franchise and not a continuation, so the characters are going to be exclusive to the game, and generally I can say without giving anything away, it's very well scripted. It kept my attention throughout, and I found myself invested in both factions, leaders and supporting cast. Now when it comes to graphics, Planet of the Apes Last Frontier really is a mixed bag. The game quickly shifts between top level graphical work, only to be met by technical issues and bugs. First, the good. Character animations as well as the environments within are incredible, ranging from the Rocky Mountains to huge plains. There's truly some stunning set pieces in here. Facial animation and movement is also of the highest quality, and that was expected with the backing of Andy Serkis. Unfortunately, however, the game just can't seem to keep up with itself, with a huge number of the scenes and characters being marred with low quality textures, textures populating as the scene takes place, and significant frame rate drops. Now for a narrative adventure game, this really is disappointing, as it really does impact immersion. During scenes I found myself looking all over the screen instead of focusing on what was taking place because of the distraction as objects, textures and scenery appeared across the screen. Now a design decision was clearly made to avoid all loading screens, instead loading on the fly, and this has led to these technical issues as well as consistent frame rate drops. With the story being broken up over chapters, I would like to think on their next release they could use these chapters as load opportunities. I would prefer immersion over pace personally, if structured in the correct way. Now with all this being said, once the textures load in, it really is a great looking game with some fantastic animation. Okay, so sound and music, and let's start with the dialogue. The voice acting here is absolutely superb. From the tribe of apes to the human survivors, it really is of the highest quality throughout. And I'd like to take a second to recognise the script that supports this fantastic dialogue. Music throughout is largely ambient, with nothing that really stands out, but it's also not obtrusive. The occasional set piece will see a swell in the music, but these are typically very short. It's serviceable, establishes the environment and supports the pacing and the storyline, and that's really all we can ask. Now finally, the environmental sounds and effects. Now these are great throughout, and while there's the occasional sound effect missing or just slightly out of time with the animation, I can say that sound, music and effects are of the highest quality throughout this game.
Who did this? Oh God, I'm gonna die.
Okay, so gameplay. Now this is a really interesting area for this particular game, and comparisons have already been made to Telltale games, and that's really not fair to either party, as they really are completely different experiences. Here you have no character control at all. You're simply making one of two decisions every 10 to 30 seconds, or a single button command to take an action, which is essentially a quick time event. Now, there is no wrong answer in this game. The game doesn't rush answers unless it's an action, so you can take your time with friends and discuss the options, something that Telltale games do not do. And these decisions that you do make are going to impact both parties, those around you, opinions of you, and also, of course, the outcome of the story. But again, just to reinforce this, there is no character control, no environmental investigation. You are simply driving the narrative forward. This is an interactive movie, essentially. Now, I played this with both a group of friends and solo, and I've got to say the group led to a really interesting experience. When you have an even amount of decisions on each of the two options, it's down to the party to discuss and convert someone to their decision. So this led to some fantastic debates and arguments throughout between the four of us, and I would suggest it's the best way to experience this game. And this brings us to the final verdict. Now, if you're expecting an action game, or even a game at all really, then I would strongly suggest you avoid this one. But for those who enjoy a good storyline with a group of friends, or even solo, it's definitely worth considering. It lasts around 2.5 hours solo, that was for me personally, and it was probably closer to 4 with my group of friends. And I was at first thinking it was an expensive experience at $19.99, but the more I thought about it, the more I could justify it. I would pay this to buy a Blu-ray, if not more, and for the same length experience. And we would spend considerably more for 4 people to go to the movies, so why not for this type of immersive medium? And the great thing is, this has 3 endings, so replayability is there. With this being said, for me, unfortunately, the graphical issues and the textures and the frame rate drops really did impact my opinion of the game and my immersion to the storyline. I will also say as well that the last hour repetition did start to kick in. So today, the Gaming X awards Planet of the Apes Last Frontier a 6 out of 10. Now, this is a really interesting experiment, and one I hope they continue to develop. But go in with the understanding this is not a game. This is an interactive movie, and that way you will not be disappointed.
They're on apes since the flu.
Somehow they got out. They got smart.
Okay, so remember everyone, we're going to be giving away a free copy of this game on the PlayStation 4. We're going to be announcing the winner in 7 days, so the 29th of November. So please go to the video description below and get your entries in. Thanks again for watching, and hit subscribe if you like what you've seen today.
Guess I'm one of those lucky types. Heals fast.